Alrighty, looks like most folks are back, so we can go ahead and get started. Congrats on making it to the final block of sessions of this conference. I know I've had a really great week, and so thank you all for making that possible. One quick announcement before we get started, and that is we will not be having a coffee break following this session. We will immediately go into Gail's final notes and close the conference from there. But first, to get things started, we wanted to try and take a quick group selfie so we have a good memory from the conference. So don't mind us, we'll just do that real quick. You'll notice that I went outside during lunch today and sat in the mud, but it's a beautiful day. Cool, a little bit of a wide room, but I'll post these on Twitter afterwards.
Nobody blinked, right? Everyone had the right? Okay.
Smiling, of course.
Cool, so we'll get started here. So this is the Reverse Ask the Experts session. I'm Steven, and this is Sydney, of course. It's going to be kind of a very flexible, kind of go with the flow kind of session. When we were figuring out different sessions on what to do, I guess typically there's the Ask the Experts AMA, it's called, Ask Me Anything.
Ask Me Anything.
But we really wanted to also take the time to learn from what we consider the real experts of PowerShell, the people who are using it every day in their work, accelerating their workflows, and just being successful at their job with PowerShell. So.
Yeah, great. So this session is going to have a little mix of everything. Hopefully it can be pretty fun and interactive. But with that, we'll jump into the first part. If I can click my slides. There we go. For one last time, I don't know if anyone wants to take any pictures, but thank you again to our sponsors. Alrighty, so one question that's come up a few times, and since this is the Reverse Ask the Experts with the PowerShell team, we've gotten a few questions. It's like, who is the PowerShell team today? And so we wanted to share a little bit with you about some of the members of the PowerShell team who weren't able to make it out to this conference this year. So these are our fearless leaders who take the lead on the PowerShell team. So here we have Stephen and I's manager. This is Michael Green. Michael's been at Microsoft for 17 years, and he's been involved in the IT community even much longer than that. He's been involved in the PowerShell community for many years, has had a few trips out to this conference, and I know he's itching for more in the future.
Yeah.
In particular, Michael's known for his work in the DSC community, but has been heavily involved in PowerShell as well. He became our manager and the official lead of the PowerShell team less than a year ago, but it's been a great transition so far.
Yeah. And of course, you guys probably know Steve Lee, the engineering manager on PowerShell. He's been with Microsoft for 22 years, and he's come to a lot of these conferences. You probably see him at the community calls, on Twitter. He's very active on Twitter, and we even noticed that the picture that we took, it was at one of the PSConfEU. You can see it kind of on his lanyard there. So, but kind of, together they kind of, bring love to PowerShell. They make
PowerShell, which we all love.
But it's not just them, and so you can't really just have a two-person team when it comes to a product like this. And so this is the PowerShell team. This is kind of everyone who works on the PowerShell team. You'll see us up there, a lot of familiar faces, and probably a lot of new faces too. Our team's been growing quite a bit in the past year. I myself have only joined just a year ago, and have been learning so much. We have a bunch of new software engineers. We have a lot of interns this summer too that have been taking the time to learn about PowerShell, develop other kind of modules and work with the community that way. So.
Yeah, so we have our wonderful PM team and our wonderful development team, and together we work really close to make the PowerShell engineering team.
Yeah, but that
yeah. But of course, we all know that this equation isn't quite complete. Unfortunately, we didn't take our selfie quite in time for this picture, so had to just ad-lib with a Google search of crowd of people. But of course, our community is the third really big part of what makes PowerShell. So here we have our amazing conferences, like PowerShell Conference Europe, which give us so much feedback towards PowerShell and are really enable the development of PowerShell. We've got our amazing GitHub community, and then the broader PowerShell community of users.
Yeah, so the community is really what makes PowerShell great, as you guys all know. I've been learning so much about the community coming to this conference. I've loved talking to every single one of you guys about PowerShell, how you guys use it, and we love interacting with everyone on Twitter, GitHub, and all the other different channels. So should we get into...
Yeah, so that was just a quick little intro who the PowerShell team is. But the first thing we wanted to do was play a little Kahoot. We'll have 2 rounds of Kahoot, which is a game that I will show you in just a second.
Yeah, it's like a fun little trivia game. So we wanted to kind of have a fun interactive session where you guys can also participate too, and we can... So if you'll take out your phones, you guys can go to the URL kahoot.it, and there's the game pin. You can also use the QR code. I don't know if you...
I will say it prompts you for nicknames. Please don't put your name in unless you want to.
It will be displayed.
It will be displayed potentially on the screen, so feel free to put in a GUID, whatever you're vibing with, as your nickname.
Not my
name.
We go.
There we go. Let me see if I can make this full screen.
There we go. Nice. No. Give people a minute.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to allow us to have 100 players. I just saw it might only tap out at 50, so we'll see. We're getting close to 50 if folks start having... Oh, no, here we go. We keep going. Okay, cool.
Oh, I love all these names. Drop table. How did you guys do the strikeout there? That's funny. Give another minute. Yeah, the drop table one was good. That's
dangerous. All of a
out.
sudden, this is gonna air out.
On the QA. Emoji stuff. Blackbeards. Okay. Once it's slow, I think once we get to the 100 mark, maybe? Oh, we can go over 100.
We're going over 100. I hope maybe
this doesn't break.
Work. Yeah.
We're gonna find out. All right, should we?
All right, let's get started. So this round is for no prizes or anything. This is just a little warm up, get started kind of thing. How are you doing today? This is very appropriate after our last session.
I think it'll start showing up, right? Or is it?
I think it'll give the full 30 seconds and then it'll build the word cloud.
Yeah.
Dog emoji, or GIF, of course.
4, 3, 2. Very well.
Well, but
Sad I have to.
Grateful, amazing.
Good, great.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, good, great, tired, awesome, fine are our top ones. Feels pretty appropriate for where we are in the conference.
Can we save it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think we'll get the result.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, an open-ended question. What has been your favorite part of the conference so far? Gave a little hint right there with the picture.
Definitely wasn't the dancing for me.
No. Do you want to? I'm worried it'll. Let's see. That's the best I got.
If you saw us dancing at the social, you
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. What's been your favorite part, Sydney?
Well, the social was a highlight. That was definitely a good time. When that music, I was just absolutely vibing with it. And then, of course, all of the great interactions with all of y'all, getting to hear your feedback or how you've been using PowerShell, I think is just so enriching. Sometimes it feels like we're in our little team's bubble working on things, so getting to step out and see a bigger picture always feels good. Coming up on the time here.
Okay, cool. 100 answers. Look at that.
I was going to show all the answers. We should have. Oh, I have to hit the button. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go.
That's all. There we go.
The dance, Australian EDM. The people, some favorite sessions, mental health talk. That was really great. Sad Joey. Sad Joey was not here. Well, maybe a few memes. All right. Big controversy. What you got? Who you got?
Cats or dogs? Decided to throw in a few fun ones here, too. Not to.
Yeah.
We're at the end of the
PowerShell
conference.
community is fun too.
Oh, quick. Oh, wow. Already.
My money's on the dogs, to be honest.
Big dogs.
Oh, it's kind of close.
Fairly close.
Kind of close. I don't know, Stephen, have you ever opened an issue?
I have. I have opened a few.
What's your favorite PowerShell repo?
Favorite PowerShell repo? Probably the main PowerShell repo or the VS Code one, because I like to. Andy responds super quick, so.
That one is highly responsive.
Yes. Also, the discussions that go on in the repos.
Yeah.
I've been learning a lot. We've implemented something called Community Day recently. We've started the past month. This is a bit of an experiment. So every Monday, we're taking a lot of the team members and focusing solely on responding to PRs, issues in the PowerShell repo and a lot of respective repos. So just kind of a heads up that a lot more responses will be happening on Mondays of every week.
Our favorite question.
What version of PowerShell do you use?
I tried to put like each one of these, like I thought I was gonna get to put each one with like a SpongeBob meme, but then it replaced the versions, so I had to delete all the SpongeBob memes.
It's Sad Joey on.
Oh, I should have done Sad Joey. Nice.
Very cool. Lesson 5. Who's you?
All right. How long have you been using PowerShell?
It's like we need the Jeopardy music.
Yeah, a little background music. I don't know, Stephen, how long have you been using PowerShell?
I've been using PowerShell less than a year, personally. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so like Kahoot has like a built-in GIF library, so I searched like coding, and then nothing really came up, so I was like hacking, and that was the first one. More than 5 years, nice.
Very cool.
All right, another word cloud, favorite PowerShell module. Do you have a favorite?
There's one I was using for kind of PowerShell's birthday announcement, the write ASCII one. So you can type in just normal text and it'll print out a really cool ASCII representation of that text. Otherwise, PowerShell Get's pretty awesome too. So.
PowerShell Get is pretty awesome. It's a gateway module, as they say.
Yep. Give a little bit more time for people to answer. And I think if you weren't able to join, I think you can still try to join with the game pin. I know it's a little tiny, but 5366 93 1. We're doing on time. 3 seconds.
Go.
Type quick. Oh. So the bigger it is, the more responses of that particular, my own Pastor PS3 line. There we go. Import Excel, that was a great talk.
I loved it. Yeah, can we give a round of applause for all those modules?
It's been so, it's been so amazing seeing all the different modules people have been creating for their uses at this conference.
I love that like my own is big enough that means multiple people typed it with an exclamation, I think.
Yeah. Script analyzer, Skype for business. Okay.
All right, this is the final question. What is your role? And meaning like how would you describe your job, or what is your approximate job title, that sort of thing?
Is computer wizard an acceptable answer? I don't know either. We'll give a little bit more time on this one so people can type.
I'm impressed though. The answers are coming in
pretty quick.
Pretty fast.
Yeah. Three, two, one. It's like drum.
What will it be?
Wow. Consultant. Hey. Automation engineer.
PowerShell fan, CTO, geek, Almighty. We have Almighty here. Look around. Go
Unlikely
center.
wizard. There we go. Wow.
Nice. Very cool. We thought this should be like a fun way to sort of like get started. And then with that, we can jump back into our questions. So we want this session to be a little bit flexible. The way we had originally imagined the session was we have some questions for y'all, and we want y'all to be able to talk to each other, talk to us, and just have sort of an open conversation. Still happy and would love to facilitate that. If you're more interested in asking us questions, we can also flip it and totally do that as well.
Why don't we put the questions up to
we'll
just at least get people thinking about some of the things. So here are some of the top questions that we've always been curious about on the PowerShell team to help accelerate the PowerShell as the product and just make it better for everyone. Leading in from the word cloud, we saw it's such a diverse group of different roles and stuff. But who is PowerShell for? Who is missing out on PowerShell? I know this is kind of an odd question, but we want to see if there's particular groups that could really benefit from using PowerShell.
I guess like another way of framing this is like when your colleague or friend comes up to you and says, you went to a PowerShell conference, like who is there? Like why would I learn PowerShell? Who's interested in PowerShell?
Anyone?
Do we have any takers? We'll pause for a second, let the questions soak in.
Feel free to just raise your hand if you're interested in participating.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this, I just put a mic to a mic. That probably would have been bad. Is this gonna work? Yeah, okay. Sorry.
I simply want to say it's for automation. That's whatever you want to automate.
Is anything, yeah.
Anyone else want to take? Yeah.
With your sentence, it's made for automation. I think it's made for everyone because automation is kind of thing that everyone of us has to do. You have to automate things because in most companies, I can only say it from my point of view, you will not do the work stuff with a headcount anymore. So you have to do automation.
I see. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, PowerShell is definitely for everyone. I think one group it would be really exciting to get engaged are like students and people learning how to code for the first time and introducing them to PowerShell as they begin their careers in IT too. So, yeah.
I would like to agree with Jody. I used to be a team lead on a support or a service desk, and till my interns every time they come there, learn PowerShell. I've been giving them some of my old used PowerShell books so they could start learning in the month of lunches series. And also when they go back to school, they are working for a few months at a time, and then they go back to school for 6 months. And they have a project where they have to build their virtual company, setting up servers and users and groups and all that stuff. And I actually told them every time they go there, make this in PowerShell. And they are actually wooing the teachers because some of the teachers have been working there for several years and have no clue about what PowerShell is. So maybe the idea is also push it to the schools that are teaching these new students.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Definitely for everybody, and also the new ones.
Love it. Thank you.
you.
Oh, yeah.
I use it a lot for tooling, and as of now, I've been using another product I shall not be mentioning here, as Visual Studio simply does not accept PowerShell as a decent language. We really need to get Microsoft on board that PowerShell is the de facto way of controlling servers they started out with saying, and also seeing all the potential for the DevOps and automation and stuff like that should really be an incentive to actually do this.
Yeah, I think that that's a really great point and actually leads pretty well into our next question. So I think I have a couple of prompting questions out of that. Yeah, as we can continue on, feel free to answer any of the questions, but another one is like, what's the best way to learn PowerShell, or how do you teach people PowerShell?
So in my opinion, where PowerShell is missing, Microsoft Learn. Because there's not much content on PowerShell, which everyone can consume for free. So maybe add this.
Yeah, I love that feedback. Yeah.
A really good way to learn PowerShell is with the module called PSConfEU. So it's a way you can learn PowerShell by writing tests. You learn Pester at the same time as you learn PowerShell.
Really great community resource. Yeah. Reach over you. Sorry. Thanks.
I think one of the greatest way to learn PowerShell is join one of the awesome open source projects out there. For example, one of the greatest learning experiences I ever had that really pushed my game forward was joining the DBA Tools project. It helped me teach others. It helped me see how others would work. And let's be honest, the PowerShell community is one of the most newcomer friendliest communities out there. So it's a great way to get engaged with other people. And well, who knows, maybe speak at this conference next year.
Yeah, I really love that response. I think another...
Should I throw out some more questions? Or
Yeah, sure. I think another thing I was going to mention that folks may or may not be aware of is the PowerShell community Discord. That's a really great resource if you are looking to start maybe contributing to some of those projects or get more involved with folks. People are really friendly and oftentimes very willing to kind of help folks get started there.
Plus our community call every third Thursday of the month, 9:30 a.m. PST.
Which is 6:30 European time, I believe.
Yeah.
Sorry? Okay. Yeah. Not on Thursday. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, should I just throw up a couple more?
We can throw up a few other questions and see what folks would love to share.
So something I've enjoyed talking a lot to folks about is, some of the biggest challenges you faced with PowerShell. When are you either choosing other shell experiences from PowerShell, outside PowerShell, just hearing what folks are doing. So we'll kind of open it up if anyone wants to talk about it, or we can
Yep.
I think one of the biggest challenges is the version sprawl. A lot of libraries are not compatible across different versions and stuff, so you need to be somewhere in between versions.
Yeah, I saw a lot of nodding heads. Could we get a raise of hands if you're like, yeah, that's definitely a pain point. Yeah.
Yeah. For modular.
I think I saw a hand back here as well. Yeah, thank you.
And one of my biggest challenges is a lot of inconsistency in PowerShell, even within the same module. So even if you're working just with the Exchange Online module, for example, you have one and the same topic that a commandlet is doing, but the parameters which are doing the same are called differently. Then you have different modules which use different kind of filters. Let's make the extreme difference between the Active Directory module and Graph. I accept that Graph is coming from a different API, but PowerShell came up with a different filter model. And talking about the new Microsoft Graph module, the help is not complete, the documentation is not complete. The help says the commandlets are pipeline aware, which they aren't. I have to use for each with every commandlet in the pipeline. And that's my biggest challenge because I work 90% interactively with PowerShell every day.
Yeah.
That's what I'm facing.
I see. How many graph users do we have here using their? Yeah. Okay. I think there were any other hands for questions or?
Oh, sorry. I thought those were hands. Yeah.
I work with 5.1 on on-premises servers. I do that a lot. I work with 7, whatever, when I go to the cloud. And for some reason, I can have the same scripts, or rather the same thing that a script should be doing will fail one of the places because something like filters are another syntax. And it's driving me nuts that there are those differences because whatever version that I'm on, I always pick the wrong one to remember. Why in the name of whatever do they change the way that you write filters, for instance? That is what I face as a challenge because I have to stop and go back to another mode than simply just write the script I have in my head.
Got it. Okay.
Yes, Fred.
Thank you, Sydney. Now, there's one problem I have that actually touches direct upon your responsibility at what you awesomely previewed coming up next. And that is PowerShell Get and the current chicken egg we have with getting package management going in an on-prem enterprise environment where not every server can go into the internet and the deployment has problems. And what I've seen so far looks very promising, but until it's GA, that's still definitely one of the key problems I see with my long-term customers.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate that feedback, and you're right. I'm working on it.
Last few questions here.
Oh, no, you're good.
I'm not entirely sure it's true, but over the years I've seen a shift where it feels like the old AD modules and modules of the 2, 3, 4 versions of PowerShell, they seem like they're crafted by hand. The help was awesome. It was really, really easy to figure out how stuff works. Now with the AC modules and the MG modules, the graph and Azure modules, seem to be auto-generated, and that makes a ton of sense. But the help sucks.
Yeah.
Balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I like to say on that is that it's just an inevitability of just the massive surface API that has to be done to either have the commandlets or don't, to at least have that base framework makes a lot of sense. But I agree, like, there's a term that I really like to use, which is for things to feel PowerShelly, which is that they support the pipeline, they support what if, that they have good help with good examples. And, and I know that the team's working really hard on that. I mean, a big thing that you'll see in the docs now is if you go to pretty much any graph API endpoint now, you can go to it, and then there'll be a tab now for like, what's the PowerShell to do that graph API version. And there was a really good presentation at Summit in Seattle where they showed that there's a couple good find commands for finding, hey, for this API, tell me what the command is. So you can go both directions. You can see what's the API, okay, how do I do the PowerShell for that? And then what's the PowerShell, and then how do I do this for that? And then there's the final gap, which is tough, which is with the deprecation of Azure AD. Okay, I've done put all this investment in making MS Online and Azure AD and but there's no direct translation. And so for a lot of those, Fred has a wonderful module that he presented about where he's basically built a full sort of parser refactor thing that can look at your script and, just look at an entire code base really and tell you, hey, these are your old Azure AD commands. This is the command you should be using for what you were doing. And it's really impressive. I definitely recommend checking that out.
Very helpful. That's awesome.
So there's something so one thing, the question there, what the biggest challenges you face with PowerShell, I think the question is sort of back to you that you have to deal with people that are on one side, like system admins, and people who are like a little bit more developers. So one thing I wanted to say is missing, I would like to have a lot more proper developer features in the language. I would like to have interfaces. I'd like to maybe have generics. I'd like to have be able to do crazy things with PowerShell, but other people in this room might not even need those features. So I think hearing these topics here about the Azure AD does that, and I know I don't even know, does the Azure AD module even support PowerShell 7? For the longest time it was only in Cloud Shell, and you had to hack it out of some other gallery in order to get it there. So I think one of the biggest things, and I try to understand that from your perspective, is that you have to deal with a completely disparate group of people. One group of people that's admins that want to do a certain set of tasks, and then another group of people like developers that want to build different tools. And I just want to say, thanks to you guys for being able to do the best you can to support both groups of people.
Yeah.
One of the things that I miss as well is in the Microsoft Docs, you have a lot of .NET libraries, which you can also use in PowerShell. But there are barely examples for PowerShell, so you have to be able to translate the C# code yourself to PowerShell. It would be a lot easier if it would have PowerShell examples as well. What's PowerShell to me? It's my job, so it's perfect.
Thank you.
Cool.
See, I don't know how we're doing on time.
We got 12 minutes left.
Okay, cool.
So
we'll take a few more comments.
A few more questions, and then we'll just kind of open it up for general questions.
Oh, sorry.
One of the challenges I face is when I have to design interactive tools with GUI. So the GUI needs to stay responsive, especially when I have long tasks that run in the background, and that's taking very much effort. Everybody needs to know C# to work with that. That's pretty much a problem in my team, I must say. And especially when looking to PowerShell 7, that's, I don't know if that GUI thing works there still as it worked in PowerShell 5.1.
Okay. I think we'll have time for maybe one more question before, one more question about these questions.
Okay,
I'll
go over here because I don't think you've gotten a chance to speak. Don't worry, Stephen, if you want to flip to the next slide.
Yeah,
if you were maybe you don't like to vocally process as much as you like to write or whatever, that sort of thing. So we have the same set of questions at this QR code, if that feels like a more accessible way for you to participate, especially because I know we're starting to run lower on time.
Yeah, and we love your feedback on these questions. One thing I will say, when you guys go to the form, if there's a second section, it might bug out, so you just have to refresh the page and it will work. Just something a little quirky about forms, but.
So what drives me nuts is when I think back to ADAC, there was a option to show me what would the PowerShell command look like to archive what I've done so far. And this was a point where I said, okay, all of my colleagues can use this, can see this, and then can proceed and make their own stuff or learn from this. When I now go to Exchange Online or something like that, this is completely missing. And so we aren't enable future PowerShell user that we could if this would be implemented, from my opinion.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Well, I just want to say, super appreciate all of your participation in this. And it I think sometimes there's a little confusion as to what our role as PMs is. And a lot of our role is having these conversations and listening and absorbing that. I know we didn't necessarily give y'all responses, but hopefully that will come in time. But I think a big part of what we do is go out and talk to customers, try and listen and understand the scenarios, and bring them back into our development environment.
Yeah, and hearing... Oh, go
I just
ahead.
want to say real quick, as a quick thing, you guys published the roadmap for what you see for 7.3. I feel like that roadmap actually really reflects a lot of the feedback that you've received. Like, when I look at that roadmap, I'm like, I do feel like you guys do get it, so.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And we've mentioned this before, but yeah, the more we hear about particular scenarios, the more it becomes clear and apparent to us that it's a big problem. And so it will be kind of taken into account in towards the planning and that sort of thing. But do we want to open it up for just general questions?
Yeah, I think 2 things would be great. I think we do want to play our game at the end. We have about 8 more minutes. Want to open it up. If there are questions that you have been wanting to ask us, we may or may not be able to answer them, but we will do our best. Also, would love to hear if folks have things like shout outs for other folks from the conference. Maybe you attended a session that you just like loved or learned a lot from, like would also really enjoy getting to hear some of that as well. So kind of up to you, but I'll let Steven walk around and pick people. Yeah.
Also, Justin, you want to go again quickly?
I'm just going to real quickly super embarrass this guy, David. He's from Budapest, and this is his first conference. He gave 2 presentations, and they were great. So welcome. We're happy to have you here.
Cool. And this is general questions. It doesn't have to be related to the questions we talked about. If you guys have any questions about our role as PMs, PowerShell team, whatever. So.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to generally thank the PowerShell team and also I guess Microsoft for is that PowerShell is finally a cross-platform because I'm as a developer also sometimes have to interact with Linux systems and I don't want to learn Bash just to do 3 simple things to debug something or see if what I deployed really is there. And therefore I can just reuse what I normally do on Windows and that's great.
Awesome. Cool.
Nice.
Any other question?
Picking up the conversation just now and one of the questions before, the question about what other consoles do you use? I know enough Bash to install PowerShell on Linux. Thank you very much for the awesome interactive console experience and the way I can customize my way into being the most lazy admin ever. It would have been totally impossible for PowerShell.
Nice.
Woo, yep. Thank you. Cool. Anything else? We'll go here, and then I'll get you next.
Yeah, I'm lazy, and PowerShell lets me to be lazy, and that's great. I'm having fun being lazy at work and getting paid for it. It's great. I wish more of my ex-colleagues were as lazy as me, but that's another question. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you. I'll bring it back and sit further in there. Here you go.
Yes, I wanted to recommend the Graph++ module. I've not looked at it yet, but it fixes some of the frustrations that there are with the graph. So I like that. And it shouldn't be a one-man thing. So.
Cool. Thank you.
Maybe one more before we play our game. Any last favorite shout outs? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hi, I don't know if he's still here, but my interest and the development of my PowerShell journey, I suppose I might call it, was almost pretty much down to Tobias. So I don't know if he's still here, but I've been to 3 conferences now, and at each of those he's taken his time to help me understand something as well. So, well, I don't know if he's still here, but if not, it doesn't matter. Shout out to Tobias.
Yeah, nice. All right, cool. So you can grab your phones back out if you'd like. We'll play one more round of Kahoot. This one's really, really random PowerShell trivia. It's not like trivia like you're really good at writing PowerShell code or something. It's just random stuff about PowerShell. Let's see. We might have misplaced our prize in the last few hours, but we'll just play for pride.
We have a lot of stickers up here.
We do have a lot of stickers we can hand out for sure. Same disclaimer about the nicknames. They're going to show up here. Put whatever you want.
Definitely. There we go. Yeah.
Steven!
Oh.
There you go. Oh, Jeffrey's here.
Drop table again. There we go.
Make Joey sad again.
Make Joey sad. Wait.
This one might tap out at 100. Oh, no.
There we go. Well,
oh, we're still going.
I think people will still be able to join, so. So close. Me, myself, and I-42 for the answer to everything, or answer to the. All right, graph++. When we get started, I think you are still able to join. So once it's started.
Good luck. I think there's like 6 questions or so.
Yeah. So the first question.
It's a slider. PowerShell shipped on what day of November 2006? This is PowerShell 1 GA date.
Do, 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 do.
79.
33, yeah. 42. 20. Oh. 15 is the default.
Oh. 14.
Is actually the 14th.
November 14th.
So marking in your calendars, November 14th is PowerShell's birthday.
Does that mean just one person got it right?
I guess so. I don't know. It's a little. Well, hopefully you guys are able to learn something new. Okay.
Next.
Let's keep going.
All right. How many commandlets shipped in Windows PowerShell 1.0? This is according to the PowerShell Wikipedia site, but don't go look it up. That's cheating. All right.
As long as you don't get caught.
Yeah, cheating is okay as long as you're really fast at it.
Almost got enough. 4, 3. Yeah, we definitely should have got the music going there. Jeopardy music.
Yeah, music would have been good.
Do, do, do. Okay.
Oh, no real fans.
I would have accepted 150 for.
I made the question super hard because I thought, wanted to weed out people so we'd have one winner. But I should have done sliding scale for all of them so people could have gotten points. What year did Windows PowerShell 5.1 release?
Oh, again, I'll just shout out the game pin at the bottom. 3650. Oh, there we go.
50.
Oh, there we go, 2016.
Let's see the standings.
we got some
Breeze
new
in
leaders.
the lead.
The real Jeffrey Stover is coming in.
How many issues were created in the PowerShell GitHub project in 2021? And I'll give a hint here that we rounded, so the last 2 digits are zeros. Last 2 digits are zeros.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, they're tricky questions, but we hope you guys can kind of learn something from it too.
They're very important questions.
Oh.
2, yeah, nice, 3,500.
And that's just in 2021 alone. I guess no change.
All right, question 5 out of 6. This was as of an hour ago when I made the final edits to this. How many total packages are on the PowerShell gallery? Packages, not unique packages, but so including versions. It might not help though because it might have changed. This was as of an hour ago.
Web archive it.
It's really just a random guess.
Okay.
I saw one person was 1 off.
All right, last question.
Hardest trivia ever. All right, last question. What is the 3-digit version number of and when I say latest, I mean most recently shipped? Like might have shipped like yesterday or the night before, depending on what time zone you're in.
This is not including previews.
Not including previews, yeah. It's not a preview, I'll tell you that. Nice.
Nice, there we go. Should we see the results? I don't know.
All right, we'll see the podium in 3rd place. If you want to reveal yourself, feel free to stand up.
PS Commandlet.
And our winner is PS Jan.
Woo!
Awesome. Well, that's all we've got.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for playing and kind of bearing with it. We want you to try something fun, a little interactive for the last session of the conference. We do have stickers up here once we're done, but first we're gonna.
Here comes Gail. We'll just let Gail come on up here.
Thank you.